Hey everyone, Simon here with a review of GORSD. GORSD, and that's the pronunciation I'm going with and you can't stop me, is a arena combat paint 'em up that's available for PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch and PC. It's the PS4 version you see on your screens. It's available with a single player campaign mode that goes on like fully fledged campaign, which I really appreciate for a game that can be played as a local multiplayer like battle arena game. And then there's 8 different multiplayer variants that you can play 1 to 4 players locally. GORSD has 2 key elements outside of its complete fever dream, horrifying and terrifying graphics, especially the bosses. They're horrific, although I love the graphics in this game. It has 2 main mechanics that you kind of need to get your head around. And the first 20 minutes when you play GORSD, you'll be like, my brain! And you'll be killing yourself and you'll be like, for goodness sake. And then it will click and then you'll be like, ingenious, and you'll be scratching your chin and enjoying yourself so much more, I promise. You just have to get through that initial learning curve. GORSD is an area painting game. The idea is that you need to, as you move around, you paint the area of the map that you're just crossing behind, and you need to get 100% clearing throughout most of the game modes to win. Now the problem is that everyone else is doing exactly the same thing that you are, but your key, and this is the big kind of twist of this, is that you have 1 single bullet and you can fire it whenever you want and it will bounce around until it hits someone or eventually kind of disappears. But when you shoot it, you can also control its directional steering on corners. So, not only are you trying to get around and paint and keep yourself painting, but you also need to control the initial directions of where your bullet is going to go. So if you shoot and then you press like left, then it will always go around the left hand side of each corner and direction, or go right around a corner if you're going right, so on and so forth. The trick with this is that because friendly fire is on, but also because everyone else's bullets are going around the same thing, and the maps are just loads and loads of squares, you very quickly start running into your own bullet, busy trying to fire your bullet at someone else, but the bullets go faster than you, so you can't outrun them if you're stuck down a long corridor. It becomes really bloody very quickly, and every time you get hit, you have a delay of respawn, and so that delay gets larger the more that you get hit. So you don't want to keep dying, because then that's more time off the playing map, which lets your opponents continue to paint more of the area. Similarly, the more you hit people and the further into the game you get, there's like a splash paint when someone gets killed by a bullet of that team. So say if you're the red person and then you shoot your bullet and you hit the blue person, then a red splasher area will go out, and the more you hit and the later into the game, the wider and bigger that splash damage gets. So initially at the beginning of each game, you're kind of doing tit for tat and it doesn't feel like it's getting anywhere, but the stakes get higher the further into the game that you get. And so it ends up becoming almost like a hide and seek gone wrong. Because you're trying to hide from someone, but they're going to shoot a bullet one way and then run the other way, or try and hide themselves because you may have shot a bullet at the same time. And it becomes like a speed tactics game, because you have to think really quickly on your feet, but also think in 2 different ways because you're you and the bullet. And it's such a simple mechanic, but it really, really makes GORSD feel unique because of how you have to play it. There's one kind of quirk though that I struggled with to get around, and it's basically getting used to steering your bullet, because you have to choose the direction when you shoot the bullet. So you're having to kind of think ahead of where you want the bullet to go. And this is particularly interesting when you get to boss battles, because bosses will have like this little demonic head in the middle of the screen, all like and it will quite often mean that you have to like shoot through lasers or across water traps and things like that. So you have to think from where you're shooting what direction you need to send it into, and sometimes it boomerangs round the wrong way and you're like, and some of the maps are designed so that it has to kind of boomerang back round and then go another way around. And I found that really difficult to wrap my head around. Too many arounds in that sentence, but I hope you understand what I mean. Outside of the kind of battling and paint modes, there's other modes as well. You've got like a cover the whole level time trial puzzle variant, and that's where not just you paint, but your bullet paints as well. And so what you've got to try and work out is, how can I cover the entire level in the space of time that I've got, because you can't run around it all in the time. So you're kind of shooting your bullet going one way, shooting your bullet going another way to try and cover all of the area. There's also domination mode, which is where you kind of, as I was saying earlier, all of the maps are in squares. So if you collect a square and it's all of your colour, that collects you points, and then your kind of point timer is going from 100 down to 0, and it will go faster the more squares that you've collected and therefore dominated. You can also choose to have like team battles as well. So if you've got 4 people together locally, you can go 2 versus 2. And there's also like a battle mode once you've completed the game as well, that you can unlock to have a good muck about with in single player to see how many kind of levels you can get through. The graphics are beautiful, really good art style. I also wanted to really praise the fact that there's so many different variety of maps available, because what could have been really tricky here was someone could have made this really great premise and then been like, 8 levels to play with. There's over 70, and believe me, the layouts really matter, because as you get further on into the single player experience, you start to have lasers that you need to shoot to like shut off for you to then get through, and you can use those tactically to then kind of turn back on and rebound off or cancel out someone's bullet. There's like bullet repeaters that will kind of suck out the bullet and stop it from going any further. There's a variety of different things that will change up a map and really keep you on your toes and keep things fresh. And that plus the unique art style, aggressive chiptune soundtrack, which I really enjoyed as well. GORSD is a unique and niche gem that I think I think you'll need to have a couple of people kind of understand how the game works to truly get the best out of it. But if you've got a few people where the gameplay clicks with and they know what they're doing, you're going to have some really intense local multiplayer battles here. And if you don't have friends, as I didn't when I had this for review over at the time, hey, Corona lockdown, there is a really, really vast and varied single player campaign for you to enjoy on this drug trip graphical adventure. So that's GORSD. It's out now. I do strongly recommend it. It's going to be one of those that needs people that know what they're doing to get the best out on with multiplayer. But yeah, pop it in your catalogue and you won't be disappointed. We have a written review of this over on higherplayinggames.com. Until next time, you guys all take care. Bye for now. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a collection of media projects ran by me. If you like what you see and want to find out more, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support can make so much more possible, be that a like, a comment, a share, or a pledge. Thanks for watching.